Welcome to YouTube Pedia. Discover the greatest stories from history, science, and beyond. If you're curious about the world, subscribe now and join our journey through knowledge. Let's get started. Bashar al-Assad, the enigmatic leader of Syria. Bashar al-Assad, a name that has dominated global headlines for over 2 decades, is one of the most controversial figures in modern geopolitics. A man born into power, yet initially destined for a vastly different life. His journey from a mild-mannered ophthalmologist to the iron-fisted ruler of Syria is nothing short of extraordinary. His reign has been marked by civil war, international sanctions, allegations of human rights violations, and unwavering resilience. But who really is Bashar al-Assad? How did a man once considered politically irrelevant become the central figure in one of the most devastating conflicts of the 21st century? Early life and the making of a future leader. Bashar Hafez al-Assad was born on September 11, 1965 in Damascus, Syria, as the second son of Hafez al-Assad, the formidable leader who ruled Syria for 3 decades. Unlike his older brother Basil, who was groomed to inherit their father's legacy, Bashar was seen as quiet, intelligent, and somewhat withdrawn. He had no apparent ambitions for politics, and his early life was largely shaped by a passion for medicine. He pursued his medical studies at Damascus University and later specialized in ophthalmology in London. Those who knew him during this time described him as soft-spoken, polite, and a stark contrast to the strongman image of his father and brother. But fate had other plans. The death that changed everything. In 1994, everything changed when Bashar al-Assad, the heir apparent to Syria's leadership, died in a car accident. This tragedy sent shockwaves through the Assad family and left a power vacuum in Hafez al-Assad's succession plans. The reluctant Bashar was suddenly pulled back into Syria and groomed for leadership. He underwent rigorous military training and quickly climbed the ranks of Syria's elite. Over the next 6 years, he was strategically positioned in key roles within the government, allowing him to consolidate power. When his father died in 2000, Bashar was swiftly declared the new president at the age of 34, in what was effectively a dynastic succession. The illusion of reforms. At first, there was hope. Many believed Bashar al-Assad might be a different kind of leader, one who would modernize Syria, promote democracy, and improve relations with the West. His initial policies suggested openness, as he introduced limited economic reforms and allowed for a brief period of political discourse known as the Damascus Spring. However, this era of optimism was short-lived. Within months, political dissidents were silenced, reforms were reversed, and Assad solidified his control, mirroring the authoritarian rule of his father. As time passed, his grip on power only strengthened, bolstered by a powerful security apparatus and a network of loyalists. The Syrian Civil War, a nation in flames. In 2011, the Arab Spring erupted across the Middle East, toppling long-standing dictatorships and igniting calls for democracy. In Syria, peaceful protests against Assad's regime quickly spiraled into a brutal civil war after government forces responded with violent crackdowns. As the war escalated, Syria became a battleground for global and regional powers. The United States, Europe, and Gulf nations supported rebel groups, while Russia and Iran backed Assad's government. Over the years, the conflict claimed hundreds of thousands of lives and displaced millions, turning Syria into a humanitarian catastrophe. Despite facing immense international pressure and accusations of war crimes, including alleged chemical weapon attacks, Assad remained defiant. With unwavering support from Russia and Iran, he managed to reclaim most of the country from rebel forces, proving to be far more resilient than many had predicted. The shadow of power, allegations, and controversies. Bashar al-Assad's rule has been marred by severe allegations of human rights abuses. Reports from organizations like the United Nations and Amnesty International accuse his regime of widespread torture, mass executions, and the use of chemical weapons against civilians, claims that Assad has repeatedly denied. The Syrian president has also navigated a web of sanctions imposed by the US and European nations, crippling the Syrian economy but failing to remove him from power. Instead, Assad has doubled down on his alliances with Moscow and Tehran, further isolating Syria from the Western world. The uncertain future of Assad's Syria. As of today, Bashar al-Assad remains firmly in control, but Syria is a country in ruins. The economy is shattered, millions of refugees remain displaced, and regional instability persists. While some see him as a brutal dictator who crushed his own people, others view him as a resilient leader who outmaneuvered global superpowers to retain control. What does the future hold for Bashar al-Assad? Will he ever face justice for the atrocities committed under his rule? Or will he continue to defy the odds and shape Syria in his own vision? One thing is certain, his story is far from over. What do you think about Bashar al-Assad's rule? Is he a survivor or a tyrant? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most controversial figures.